G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm in the Maldives at the Soneva Fushi Resort. Let's dive in with my full review and tour. So everything is taken care of for you as soon as you arrive in Mali Airport. You'll get greeted by someone from the resort, and they'll take you out to a car. The car will take you around from the main port side of the airport, around the airport to the seaplane side, which is kind of on an inner lagoon. From there, Soneva has its own lounge that you can go and relax in. The lounge is well catered. It's got some of the chocolates and some of the things that you'll get to enjoy once you land on the island. The staff experience starts off right there. It's really, really great. And you can kind of look out down onto the seaplanes and get excited for what's about to come. It's a large space. It's got a large bathroom in it, lots of comfortable seating, heaps of space, lots of people. There's places for the kids to kind of play and hang out. And like I said, you can get your fingers on some of the tasty treats, and they'll make you a cup of tea and a cup of coffee as well. So it's a really nice lounge, and yeah, the experience starts well before you actually get on to Soneva Fushi. So behind me there you can see the welcome jetty, which is where you're going to arrive when you first step foot on Soneva Fushi. You'll come in by seaplane, unless you're coming from one of the nearby resorts. You might come in by speedboat, but usually come in from Mali on a seaplane, land, make your way to this dock. And just over here in front of me is where paradise begins. Actually, paradise kind of begins when you're on the way here. It's an unbelievable sense of relaxation and excitement when you're just cruising into some of these Maldivian islands, and you just see that water from the air or from the seaboat, and you feel the breeze and the heat and the warmth, and you just know you're in for a great time. So in this video I'm going to take you on a full tour of the Soneva Fushi Island, which has been around for, so just shy of 30 years. So quite a bit longer than Soneva Jani, which is one of the other ones that you'll find here in the Maldives. Which I think has been around for 8 years. So it's been around for a long time, and it's more embedded. So I'm going to take you on a full tour of everything there is on this entire island. I'm going to take you through my room, which is absolutely unbelievable. It's humongous, and give you my thoughts on what to expect if you're considering this experience. And hopefully we get the sun out. It's kind of a bit patchy today, and you'll see it in all its glory. All right, let's dive in. So like I said, this is where you're going to come in, get off the jetty, get greeted by multiple people who all know your name and are excited to see you. And then over here, you've got the beginning of the water, and then into this main hub area, which is kind of the thing. They're setting up for dinner tonight. There's a around the world buffet on. Now out there, that second buoy there is kind of where the reef just drops off. And it's actually pretty cool snorkeling just out there. So this is one of the big benefits of Soneva Fushi, is that you can literally just swim off, snorkel off, and you're in reef, and there's so many fish. It's even easier on the other side of the island. I'll show you in a sec. I had dinner here last night, and the sunset kind of over there was absolutely stunning. How good is this? One of the curiosities about the island is that lengthways it doesn't really face. Look, it's almost the two tips, which are the sunrise and sunset facing, at least at this time of year, which is July. So that's kind of curious. Well, not curious, but you know, a bit of a conundrum for them, because it means that the vast majority of the water villas, the vast majority of the beach villas, don't face directly towards, you know, the sunset and the sunrise, which is obviously remarkable and amazing if you can get it. The overwater villas, on the other hand, do, because they're not reliant on where the land is. So down here, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. It's kind of the main buffet experience. There's a little bar here. And up above it, there's actually a big full-size pool table up there. You can go and play on the balcony up there. It's one of the many bars. And then down here, so you're going to have your buffet breakfast. It's not the only option, there's other options as well. I had a floating breakfast this morning, which was quite an experience. It was actually really cool. I didn't know what to expect, but it was really cool. And then one of the cool things that Soneva does is basically you can obviously get half board or full board. Now if you get half board, they don't leave you stranded at lunch with nothing. So there's still places you can go and just eat. And you're just not having a sit down dinner or buffet experience necessarily. Well, it's a buffet experience. So in here, for example, is the chocolatarium. So these are just all handmade chocolates that are just available all day. And my gosh, they are something else. They are so yummy, which is the one I had before. This one here, I'm having one right now. Literally just melts in your mouth, it's incredible. There's an ice cream place that's usually now, it's just moved somewhere else on the island at the moment, so you can just get ice cream all the time as well. So that's all included. And over here, I know that was set up for the buffet lunch, yeah. So you can kind of get some food during the day, even if you haven't kind of bought full board. So I think that's really cool. I think that's really, really nice actually, because you can eat so much at dinner and so much at breakfast. You probably don't really need a full lunch. I know that I've got full board and like I didn't even have lunch today. I just skipped it. I was just so full still from breakfast. But it's so peaceful underneath all these trees and in the shade, and the breeze just kind of filters through. It's a really lovely space, and the philosophy here is no shoes, no shoes, and just feeling the sand between your toes everywhere you walk is just very, very cool. So Soneva Fushi does change the theme of its dining each day. And so for example, there's a garden seafood night, there's an Asian flavors night, there's an Italian night at Out of the Blue, there's a Maldivian night. This particular experience is called the Down to Earth Barbecue Night. And it's just down in that kind of open area at the entrance to the resort with your toes in the sand and a huge selection of really tasty, yummy foods. With like the lighting and also bands playing and DJs playing beats. It's a really, really awesome experience. Probably goes without saying that all the staff are really, really lovely. Reception was down there, by the way, sorry. And it's kind of a meeting spot for snorkeling tours and things like that. It's another big restaurant and bar. I ate here last night, it was excellent. And you can kind of sit in there, or you can sit on the beach, or you can sit in between. And they just bring everything out to you. Really nicely done. And then you've got some shops and you can buy villas as well as bits and pieces over there. There's buildings everywhere as you ride around the island. There's buildings everywhere. I'm not really sure what all of them do. I think there's a lot of staff living here. One of the things that's interesting, I think, is that we're pretty close. I'll show you on the other side of the island. We're pretty close to one of the locals' islands. You know, it's got like high-rise apartments on it and everything. You can see it quite clearly. In fact, you can even hear it if you're on the right side of the island. Announcers and so forth. So there's a lot of workers here that aren't from the island, I get the impression. They're wearing different shirts and everything like that, but they're just not as, like the staff are just so unbelievably nice and friendly and easy to have a chat and on your side, and those guys are just kind of like toiling away, working hard, probably for not much money, and they're just not too happy about anything. There's a surfing lesson going on here with the kids. So here's the water sports, so everything that's not motorised is included. And so snorkel gear, paddle boards, the sailing, life jackets, all that kind of stuff is all included. And it's only when you get to the motorised stuff that you start to need to invest some coin. And you know, look, when it's time to invest coin on these Maldivian resorts, it's serious coin. I will say though that the $11 US for a beer, which sounds horrendous, actually is relatively not too bad. But I would be totally of the opinion, if you can do it, to go at least half board, because when you start seeing the food prices, it rack up real quickly on you. Like, you know, everything's kind of somewhere between 45 and 95 US dollars, like from starters up to mains, depending on where you are. Okay. That's a little introduction to the hub area. Let's go for a ride. Okay, so what I'm about to do now is probably a 8 on a difficulty scale. I'm going to ride one-handed through the sand, filming on a GoPro while talking you through everything there is to see. So if I stack it, make sure you put a lol in the comments. Alright, let's go on a bit of a tour. So that's where we just were. And now I see these little cool little hedgehogs, by the way. They're such a good neat idea. I want one from home for home. You basically just scrape your feet on them and all the sand comes off. Genius. So it's very compact. It's not very. The roads here aren't very sandy, which is good. I haven't actually found my kind of front wheel digging in at all, which is some of the other resorts. It's been a bit of a constant concern. So we'll end up that way in a sec. I think I'll start by going this way. There's a lot to see. The signage is a little bit of a head scratcher. There's a tennis table in there. You can see it. Because they put, so I'll show you why. See how they got signs on the left and signs on the right? So in your mind, you're like, anything on the right is going right, anything on the left is going left, but it's not the way it works. As you can see, there's many on the left that are going right, and it's just very confusing. Anyway, I've got lost a couple of times. Part of the adventure, I guess. There's one time I was adamant I was going one direction and I popped out on the other side of the island and I was like, oh, how do I do that? Because you can't really see the sun when you're in here. So it's pretty open. And one of the fun things is that there's rabbits everywhere. Little rabbits, really super cute little rabbits that just kind of are always just running around or eating bits of fruit that have fallen from trees. And so we'll see if we see some. It's the heat of the day right now. They might all be running off. Something for the fish, something for the kids to really enjoy. And this is a very, very kid-friendly resort. Later on I'll show you the den, which is mind-blowing. But the staff were telling me they can have up to 120 kids on this island at any one time. Maybe that was a record or something, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot of kids. And it's not a massive island. I think it's 1 kilometre from, I think she said 1,140 metres from one end to the other. So it's a bit more compact than, say, Soneva Janai. So you do notice the kids a bit more. Now, I'm a father of 3 kids, it does not bother me. But if that's not your go, no, it's something to take into account. If you're in the beach, the villas kind of, you know, this is a kind of a more of a jungle island. Most of it's on the beach. I think they're saying like 90 villas, and I think something like 84 of them are on the island, and there's 6 water villas, something on that. It's not numbers like that. Anyway, oh, there's a diving school in there. Go down there later, that cuts across to the Overwater Villas. What I want to show you, the villas are kind of scattered equally around the whole island, but yes, as I'll show you later on, you can kind of see into the villas next to you, not really, not clearly, but it's not fully private, and you can definitely hear the kids or whatever on the other side. It's just something to take into account if that's a bit of annoyance for you. Definitely not something you want. Okay, so this is out by the sea, I think it's called, which is where you can not just come for a nice lunch with Mediterranean seafood, but it's also, you can literally just jump off the back of it and snorkel. But you can see on the other side there, that's that kind of island I was telling you about, the locals' islands. That's right there. So I was sitting there having lunch yesterday and you can kind of hear them. And there's a villa, the villa's all the way along here as well, which just on the beaches here. So if you're on this side of the island, you're going to get sunset. This is the best place to come for sunset. You can sit on the roof and look at the stars at night as well. There's a bar there, great food, fantastic food. But something to note in that you get the sunset, but you also got the local island in the way of your Maldivian paradise. So yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but it hasn't affected me personally. obviously bikes are the main point of transport for everybody, and they're pretty good bikes. They've got a bit of suspension on the back, which is nice for my big fat old bum. Top tip though, if you're a tall bugger like me, make sure one of the first things you do is go to the desk and say, can you please raise my seat? Because otherwise everything's lowered down to like Southeast Asian standards and it's really hard on your legs. I actually really love cycling through all this space. It's let's take the shortcut. It'll up the risk factor. Oh, a lizard. Yeah, I've really enjoyed. Oh, there's a bunny right there. There he is. Hanging out, doing bunny things. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed just riding. I've ridden everywhere. You can just get buggies. They'll offer you a buggy. That's fine. No dramas. Take you wherever you want to take you. You're always connected to your Barefoot Guardian, which is kind of like your personal assistant, effectively. But it's not a. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess people treat them in different ways. Like we've been getting on really well, having good chats. She's a really nice person. But I've chosen to ride everywhere because I just really enjoy feeling the breeze, and riding through this canopy is just so peaceful and relaxing. Plus it's a bit of exercise, which you definitely need after all the food. Right, so we're heading towards the... Where are we heading? So there's the sunset side of the island. Well, first off, we're going to see Soneva Soul, which is the spa experience. Let's go take a look at that.
It's the pre-chamber, which is at minus 60 degrees, and the actual therapy chamber is minus 110. So you can see the temperature over here, and the whole process is for 3 minutes. 30 seconds would be in the pre-chamber and 2.5 minutes. It can be 3 minutes also in the therapy chamber. So that's how it is. We sent you in with the gloves, socks, mask, ear muffs.
Great after that.
Yeah, actually it is very refreshing because you're coming out from the hot and cold, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, this cryo chamber is very good for the muscle tension, joint pains, muscle stiffness. Very good. And moreover, it is if you come every time, it's going to lose your calories also.
Oh, I need that.
start our sensory journey from here. This is a sensor, it has sensor. So we do have for the relaxing and calming, we do have lavender. If you want to breathe in and breathe out, the sensor. Facials.
Yeah.
And by end of 2021, we introduced Soneva Soul, which is having traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, naturopathic medicine, and a few other modalities, you know, like the hyperbaric, the cryotherapy. All these are part of the inclusions of Soneva Soul. So here we are having the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, which is a small mild chamber which takes you to a pressure of 1.3. 1.3 atmosphere. So you would be inside the bag. The bag blows up like a big duffel bag, and the pressure around you is increased inside the bag, and that provides you with more oxygen availability, and more oxygen you have in your blood, more healing happens.
Yep.
And this
Makes
is
sense.
another system which we call the hyperthermia room, in which we create artificial fever in you. So there's a heating lamps. So the heating lamps will be creating a sauna, controlled sauna, and your inner body core temperature is being raised to fever, kind of from 37 to 39, 40.
Yeah.
And everything is monitored, your blood pressure, ECG, everything is monitored, and you retain the temperature for some more time, and then you get back to the normal temperature. So it's a tedious process, usually taking 3.5-4 hours. It's good for removing toxins from your body, usually for cancer survivors who have gone through chemotherapy. This is a nice release of the toxins, and also good for depression, skin conditions like psoriasis, you know, and also for weight loss. So but it is not a favorite, or rather we don't present it to the guests. You know, at the moment only Sonu is using it because he has gone through his cancer treatments, and so at the moment only he uses it, but it's open for them. Depends on how much they want, you know, like 3 to 4 hours in that thing and getting really exhausted.
Yeah. All right. Back on the road. So there's some of these things I haven't quite worked out what they are. So here, hens, chickens, lizards, these are the kind of things that you're likely to come across. But I don't know what that era thing is. I think maybe it's staff quarters. So that's the end of the Soneva Soul there. So in here somewhere is you got your recycle factory where they're doing a lot of their recycling. So when I first started looking up Soneva and trying to learn about what they're all about, you know, there was a kind of a bit of a focus on wellness, yoga, no shoes, kind of all that cool hippie stuff, and I was like, you know, like I'm down with it, but it's not a big focus for me in life. It's becoming more of a focus as I get older, I tell you, but and the sustainability side of things, but that doesn't kind of like eat into the experience at all in terms of like, oh yeah, it's 5-star from we've done everything recycled and we grow all our own food. That type of, sometimes, you know, that can just relate to an experience which is pretty bare bones. Not the case here at all, but you can see here, this is not the only one of these little farms around. You can they pretty much grow everything here. They've got solar powering most of the site. Make all their own food, they know where everything comes from, they got water treatment, they recycle kind of all the cans and bottles and do cool stuff with them. You'll see all this funky design and all the shacks and bars and on the roof and in the spa and all this type of stuff, which is basically just recycled leftover wood from building stuff, and then they repurpose it in really cool and funky ways. And it's just, and you can actually come here and have, I went to one of these on the other side of the island, and I had some food there and it was amazing. And the guy took me around the garden and spoke about how they grow all the stuff. And how are you? Good? Good. Hello.
Would you like to see around the garden?
Yeah.
Please. Let's go. So I begin from the tree. I would like to just give you can guess what is this actually. So we have the growing in our resort, so now we have the gardens, like one of the garden is the shades of green. So we are growing in the shades of green most of the herbs, like this, like rocket leaves, all the kind of leaves, basils and cabbage, and these things we're growing mostly in here. And we are growing, whatever we grow here, that we will just distribute all the outlets, plus we're using in here especially in the shades of green. But we are using all the dishes, especially we pick it from our garden and we are using. And this fermentation is our process. We didn't use any chemical, anything. It's organic and
And you can produce enough to make all the meals?
yes. So mostly we like sometimes we grow this
Coriander.
nice smell. Very strong. Oh, I don't like the coriander. Yeah, lemon basil.
That's much more subtle, isn't it?
Yes. If you bite also, it's the lemon flavor so better.
Mm. I like it. Yeah, look, it's absolutely to be admired. I think they've just done such a great job of combining luxury and sustainability and wellness, you know, but in particular sustainability, without any sacrifice at all to the luxury. All right, let's go look at the gym. It may come as a surprise, I didn't spend too much time in the gym outside of the 3 seconds I was filming it. Did a lot of swimming though. So, got tennis court. Over here there's an even bigger tennis court with like almost like a grandstand, like all set up. There's also, I think it's pickleball court as well. Look at this cool piece of art. So plenty to do if you want to do it, but I haven't seen it get too much use. So apparently it's at about 50% capacity at the moment. So as you can see, like riding around, you don't bump into too many people. It's the middle of the day right now. You do around mealtime and so forth. So this is like another entry point. I think this is where maybe, see down there, it's a lot of the recycling and everything goes on down there. So this is called Out of the Blue. This massive kind of restaurant slash experience. There's water slides and everything like that, but it's actually closed at the moment for it's technically low season, so they're doing a bit of work done. But that's some construction over there. And this is, I think they call this Turtle Beach. Turtles do come on the island. I haven't seen one, unfortunately. But they've also got this really cool open air cinema down here, which I'm going to show you in a second. I came down here last night actually and got so lost. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Just beautiful. Now down there, let's have a look, I'll show you what's in there. So that's what you do, that's where you're going to go do your yoga We're in a nice little spot. So yeah, all that wellness stuff is here, but if it's not your bag, it's not really in your face at all. So if that's something that you picked up on and has been a big focus point for them, it is. But it's not a problem. There's your cinema wall. And you've got this big nice open space here, including hammocks, access to the water. There's a bar in there, sunken lounge. These all had cushions on it last night. Up there's a pool table up there. So yeah, very, very cool space. So everything here's got a build quality and a scale that's pretty impressive. You can say it's rustic. You know, it's not all super polished marble, and yeah, most of it's just kind of wood like this. You know, the bike racks, just make the most of it. But it still feels primo, and the reason it feels primo is because of the design. So the quality of the materials, while not bad for any stretch, but you know, aren't exactly like what you might find in like the highest of high ends. But the design, there's that town island there, so you can see from a different perspective there. So you can see it's a bit more built up. There's a stadium, antennas and so forth. Yeah, but sorry, to finish that point, the design of it is just so cool, so unique, so smart that it just makes everything feel so premium. And I really think they've done a good job. I'm probably not supposed to be in here, but there's another garden. And so you can see all the kind of recycling and repurposing. Coconut husk, they use the charcoal, for the dinners and so forth. Alright, so let's cruise. So that's kind of this side of the island, so we're now at the, what I call the sunset side. We're going to cruise towards the sunrise side. It's not quite sunrise and sunset, it's a bit more obscure than that. I'll give you an idea of the size of the island and what you've got ahead of you if you want to pedal everywhere like me. So one of the cool things that they do have here is an observatory. So last night I went down to the observatory. A lovely lady there brought up a couple of star clusters for me to have a look at. It was kind of actually challenging to find the observatory, but I did find it. And there's another little special experience to add to a list of many special experiences. Now there's all kinds of excursions and so forth you can do, obviously, for added expenses. Snorkelling and surfing and well, countless things really. Fishing. You can happily spend a week here or more without running out of things to do. That much is for sure. Oh, you know what? We just went past the observatory. The observatory was back at that, back where that farm was that I showed you. And I forgot. But if you keep going through the farm, you end up at the observatory. All right, let's see if we can get to the next bit without getting particularly lost.
Sorry.
Alright. Let's have a raging debate about who was at fault then, if there was an impact and crash. I'm going to go with him, since they say stick to the left. Therefore, I have no responsibility. Mosquitoes and flies. Look, it's a bit more of a buggier resort. As you can see, it's so jungle. You know, you're going to have to find lizards in your house, and I did have a few mosquitoes buzzing around me and the odd fly, but realistically I'd say it's pretty much bug free, like by comparison to like just going camping in Australia. You know, like you'd eaten alive 95% of the time. Here I don't think I've been bitten by anything. I haven't felt it, and I haven't got any itchy spots. Alright, where am I going? Okay, so I want to show you the other side of the island. Oh look, we ended back in my shortcut. Look at this wicked tree in here. Look at that. So definitely an activities driven resort. Definitely a great place to come with the kids. No doubt about that. Potentially more so than a romantic getaway. If you're coming in the wet season like I have, most of the time it's like this. It's just beautiful. And look at that. It's just, I love it. But when the rain comes, boy it comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden it's grey and then it's blustery and it's raining and it can last 5 minutes, it can last 5 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like this again. So I don't think it becomes a problem unless you've got a really short stay. Alright, I kind of got back to this hub world at the start now, which I like to think of as the middle of the island. I don't think it technically is, but feels like it. It's down to earth. Alright, now over this way we're going to go past my villa, which we'll do in detail later on. Now my villa is huge, but one of the small ones. Dolphin Beach. So my villa is number 16, which is down there, so we'll end up back there later. This one here, 15, is a dead set mansion. Like it's got a whole like humongous open foyer. And water slide going into the pool. Like it's humongous. Some of the villas are dead set way bigger than the average family home in Australia. Way bigger. My villa is probably the size of an Australian home, and it looks puny compared. Okay, let's go have a look at the den, which also includes the zip line, because there is a zip line course here. the zip line ends up at a place called Flying Saucers, so it goes up through the jungle and drops you off in a different spot. But yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job with that kids club. It's absolutely brilliant. If you've got younger kids, honestly, they're going to have a great time and you're going to have a great time, which is the most important thing, right? This is the end of the zip line course. Pretty cool. And there's a jungle gym as well, which is kind of like a more of a kind of outdoory course you can do. Slightly older kids potentially. Down there. Alright. You can kind of see actually the zip line coming through there, through the trees and down there. So these are all villas kind of on the edges, and then you kind of got either staff quarters or amenities, staff amenities, and kind of more central. There's little farms everywhere. And all their kind of recycling, water filtration, all that kind of cool stuff that they're doing. Kind of it's all central, leaving the outskirts for the villas. And here we go to the handful of Overwater Villas. Now, I haven't seen inside these Overwater Villas, so I can't offer you any real meaningful insight into what to expect, other than the fact that I have stayed in an Overwater Villa at Soneva Janai. Now that review is also available online, and from what I can see from the design of these things, it's pretty on point with what I was experiencing in Soneva Janai. So I think if you see that review, you get a pretty solid idea of what to expect in terms of just the level of quality and the isolation and just the experience. I will say here that the water's like deep, teeming with wildlife. The snorkeling here is fantastic, and these water slides as well that go in there, and there's a bit more wave action, so I think you get a lot more lapping, sound of water lapping here. And that's Dolphin Beach that we've just gone past. So this is giving you an extent right out to the edge of where things are. Now I will say, when I got here they were like, is there any activities that you might want to do? And I looked at the list of activities, they had surfing. I went, I want to go surfing. And they were like, oh, the weather's not really great for it. And I was quite disappointed. And then the lady just kind of goes, oh, you know, you can just paddle off the end of the villas and there's some waves. And I was like, really? So I grabbed my gear straight, oh, look at that. Oh no, I thought it was a big stingray. That was almost the crash. You see, so there's decent sized little swell coming through here that you'll be able to listen to and lap. These Overwater Villas are phenomenal, and far superior experience to the beach villas in my opinion, but probably cost more, and you're a long way out from the action. So if you've got lots of kids and they're always hanging at the den or want to go snorkeling and so forth, you can just snorkel straight up here though. It's sweet as. Yeah, so I came down here before and just jumped off the end of the jetty here and swam out there, and it's not that good anymore, but I ended up getting some really good waves out there, like really good waves. Stuck to the fun. You can see this one's A-framing through here, and it was bowling down the reef. So I got it in the perfect tide. So yeah, here comes one. Let's watch it. So a little bit smaller now, but yeah, you can just jump off there and go for a surf. So unreal. That's the final piece of the puzzle as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's a full tour. I've done my exercise for the day. Let's go have a look at the villa. So this is our little private entrance, and number 16 is actually really close to the kind of centre area, so you can just walk down there and you are in the centre of town, so to speak. Let's have a look. A couple of sunbeds here. Now, one of the things I will say is obviously there's a couple of overwater villas here. This is obviously not the overwater villa. So you got a little, it's pretty private, but it's not completely private. So you can kind of see through to both sides, but, and hear all the action going over there. So it's not quite as private as the water villas, as the overwater villas. So a little private pool, hammock. Nice little table and chairs out here, you can sit there. It doesn't face anything, really. You got sunrise kind of there and sunset there. So you just keep that in mind when you're looking at the villa placements. You kind of want to be a bit kind of further around either way if you want to get one or the other kind of in your face. Really lovely, nice sized pool. Really big steps though. Like the last step in both of them is huge. You've got to kind of get onto your knees to get out. A couple of hammocks and a couple of sound lounges, and then we get into this thing. Look at it, double stories. They don't do anything by halves around here, I tell you. So you usually ride your pushy in from there unless you walk around the beach like I just did. This is a 1-bedroom villa, I remind you. That's enough space to sit about 20. But everything's just so comfortable and thick and luscious. Huge table. I sat out here and did some work yesterday. It was really lovely. A little swing chair out here as well. It's your little hedgehog for wiping your feet in your water. Now look at these doors. That's all one door. Kid you not, watch this. It's actually really hard to open. The poor lady my Barefoot Guardian can't get it open. Look at that. It's out of control. Huge, unbelievable door. And you come in straight into this beautiful foyer area, this sunken lounge. Big open windows, aircon's just pumping the whole time, keeps the place really cool. And then you got a little TV up here. Otherwise, you can just use the Apple TV box, which is in here, so you can obviously use all your apps. But it also plugs into the sound system, which is in every room, so you can kind of just play beats the whole way through the house, which is great. Okay, we'll start with downstairs. So there's a full kitchen here, just a small size fridge with a few bits and pieces, and a full size fridge, not that you need one, I don't think. And a whole bunch of stuff that you can purchase at your will, all of which is Maldives resort prices, as you would expect. Although overall, the prices aren't too bad here on the drinks. Like $11 US for a Tiger beer, which sounds like a lot, but compared to some of the other resorts, isn't too bad. There you go, there's a huge door, look at that. All right, through here is your changing space slash mega bathroom slash walk-in wardrobe slash everything under the sun, from insect repellent to coral-friendly sun lotion, the works is here, safe. You can put clothes in here, and it's complimentary laundry. They'll take it and they'll wash it and bring it back, but they do actually end up charging you $10. That $10 goes to charity. So it's I think that's actually kind of a pretty nice initiative. $10 US it is, but it's still pretty cheap for laundry really in a resort, and it's going to a good place. So showers don't have much pressure, but they are hot. And a little toilet in here. It's always bloody open. Sorry about that. And then out here, you got this kind of little private garden area. There's a shower down the back. And like I said, the pressure is really low, so I don't know how long it would take to fill that bathtub, but I appreciate it's there. It's an option. It'll take a long time to fill up, I suspect. And then we've got a little shower out here as well. Look at that. That's coming down the back. And a little sofa out here as well, so I guess someone can sit and watch you have a shower. If that's your thing. Let's go have a look upstairs. So they've come and looked after me every single day to sort out. The one thing I've really struggled with is the lack of natural light. There's these big windows and everything, but all the lighting is just kind of mood orange lighting. With my eyes anyway, I find it really hard to see anything all the time. I'm constantly trying to find light. All right, so up here, we got the bedroom, the 1 bedroom in this humongous place. And this mosquito net, which I did put down last night. A little toilet in here. as well. So there's an upstairs toilet, thankfully. There's a way through here, which kind of gets you up above. And then you can walk through to another balcony area up here, which I haven't really felt a need to use because there's no real sunset view or anything like that, but it's another chill out space with a nice big table, playing cards or whatever. And then another little sunken lounge. You can sit out there and have a drink and look out over the kids. And as you can see, it's pretty see-through, but it's not too bad. All right. So back into the bedroom here, and there is a little space in here which is kind of cool. A little chill out meditation zone, I guess. You can kind of just really just get away from it. It's got its own little fan and quiet. There's a light somewhere, 3 different lights actually. So you can get the dimming just about right. And some spare blankets and stuff in here, which is good to know because they're still kind of thin. Because they only provide a very, very thin sheet here. And it wasn't quite warm enough last night. A little bit thicker would have been nice. But obviously luxurious pillows, really lovely bed. Look at this pillow, so amazing. And it's amazing when you do the setup as well. When you're actually, before we finish this, I'll just tell you. See here, this is one of the interesting things. See, there's no gap between the outside world and you. So obviously you can close this, but it's just more of the same, right? Now, obviously you've got a mosquito net around here if bugs do get in, but the drama is more that the noise gets in. So last night, these poor people next to me, their child, they had a very little child, were just having one of those nights. And I've been there, it sucks, like it's horrible. And the kid was like midnight and the kid was still just screaming uncontrollably. And I could hear everything in here because there's nothing to stop the sound. There's no glass panel, there's nothing there. So that's something that they could potentially work on because, you know, I mean, I just felt sorry for them. I wasn't angry or anything, but others may have differing opinions, and it's probably unnecessary. You see the little wildlife and crows, the water hens, rabbits, no crabs. I haven't come across many crabs. Yeah, so one of the things I should point out as well is that when you first kind of like book your ticket before you get here, there's a chance to set up your preferences, and it's ridiculously deep. It goes into the fragrance you want your pillow, there's like 10 different pillow types to choose from. You can organise what's in your mini bar. There's it's like pages of preferences that you can put in place for them to then basically execute on your dream experience when you get here. And that's, I guess, part of what they do to hit the luxury angle. I mean, I did it. You know, I was neither here nor there. Maybe I'm just not cultured enough. But still very cool. So yeah, that kind of wraps the tour of the villa. It's a bit all right, isn't it? Definitely a place to hang. So there you go, guys. That's a pretty comprehensive rundown of everything that Soneva Fushi has to offer. I've had a really good time here. The mix of activities have been particularly good. Just being able to just jump off and snorkel can't be underestimated. That's a really big strong point. The fact that there was surfing in the end was just huge for me personally. The food's been great. I love the construction of the roads and just how easy they are to ride around. The bikes are really easy to pedal. It's actually fun just getting around, which is really cool. And there's so much here for kids and families. I think most people would really enjoy it. Where you might not enjoy it is that it's so jungle focused. You know, like all around you, it's kind of jungle focused. So if you know, from my villa, I can see the water. It's massive, but if you're here for those, like, just want to see all those Maldivian blue water the whole time, then you might want to go somewhere there's more overwater villas to choose from. The way that the island faces isn't inherently great for sunset and sunrise, so that's also a bit of a bummer. I don't think there's too much they can really do about that. And yeah, because of how good it is for kids, if you're not okay with the sounds of kids, because you can hear them about, that's also another reason that you might want to consider your options. But you know, overwhelmingly, it's really spectacular, and it's been a great experience staying here. Anyway, those are my thoughts, my review of the Soneva Fushi. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos. In fact, I've got another video on Soneva Janai that you should definitely check out, but I'm also going to do a comparison between the two because there's definite differences between the two. So I'll try to focus just on this resort for in this review, but I'll do another video where I'll just compare the two, so if you're umming and ahhing, to find out which one's with you. So make sure you check that out, subscribe, it'll come up sometime as soon as I can get to it. Yeah, that's me, I'm back on the road. In fact, you know what, I'm going surfing. So I'm sitting at the Soneva Fushi, and I've been sitting here now for, where are we looking at? Coming up to 2 hours, waiting for my seaplane transfer. It's quite frustrating. I understand why it's happened. It's because the seaplane's got to leave Mali to come here and then pick me up. And it comes with a bunch of people. And the people that it was bringing over here, their flight was delayed, their international flight, so they got there late. So they're left late to come pick me up, and it's not here. What's frustrating is that no one said anything to me. I have to work this out all on my own. And I've been sitting here just kind of going, did I miss the plane? Is it still coming? And then when I asked, eventually, they were like, we don't actually know what's going on. We don't know when it's coming. It's a third-party company. And I'm like, okay, but I'm stranded on this island and I've got a transfer to make. And I'm just sitting here with no air conditioning and on a really uncomfortable seat for hours with no one coming to inform me. That's pretty frustrating. So I understand how it's happened, but the lack of communication has taken a situation that was unfortunate and made it a real frustration. But it's something to know. Obviously, if you're transferring between resorts in the Maldives, the two resorts kind of work together in the background to make it as seamless as possible, which is really good. But this kind of situation can just eventuate. Like any plane trip, it can get delayed, right? So that's just something to keep in mind, because I was meeting my family today and I'm at least 3 hours late.